And we are live, people. Happy Sunday to you. Once again, we are here for the reflections. Mama Lou in the building. Hey, up Kurt. Seems only 5 minutes ago you was live. And here we go again. Absolutely. As you come in, hit that like button. Absolutely, guys. Follow the person with the wrench. I feel Billy, no mates, just taking to myself. Hit that like button. Whyte McCrackerson in the building. Oscar Henao, where you been? Counterpunch to you. I'm gonna see everybody in the crew. Hopefully, if that's what it happens, and that's how it. Wait, let's see here. Hold on a second. We gotta do this. I have to do this. Go send this off real quick, peeps, and we will be ready to go. All right, cool. When he got robbed, okay. Did you sleep well? I mean, I slept okay. I went right to bed right after we watched Chmapion retire temporarily. Mr. Squale. And that fight, honestly, looking back at that fight, reflections. I guess we can talk about the Chmapion fight just a second. The reflections of that fight is Chmapion has a gas. He has a gas tank. He has a switch. He can switch it on. He can switch it off, and he showed us that he can do exactly that. I am good. Have been a little busy. What part of the world are you in? Bill Keaveney in the building. Counterpunch to you. We are here. Yeah, multitasking. However, let's see how this goes. There we go. But no, man, we have a lot. We have some controversy. We have to talk about that a lot. I think that Huni did a good job. It's sad though what happens in boxing, how it's set up for certain fighters to prevail, certain fighters to be protected, And here's another thing: when it's misused, it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people that's witnessed Deontay Wilder, for example, get beat up by Tyson Fury. No. When he got beat up by Tyson Fury, a lot of people had a lot to say, right? They had a lot to say. They even had a damn petition where it was controversy makes new fights. It can, but then controversy, it gives you something to talk about, but that's pretty much it. It still sucks. It still sucks. There's no way around it. Let's see here. There we go. All right. All right. We got outfit and glove gate. Yeah. We got a lot of stuff now. So what the hell would we call this? Referee gate? Because that's what the issue is. Reflections. Rounds 3 to rounds 10, so 6 straight rounds, honestly. We had Justice Huni, Fabio, Wardley, and Frank Warren. Why not? Okay, cool. Boom. Man, do you sleep? Yeah. Actually, I do, man. I just woke up. I went to the grocery store, went to the local market, picked up some stuff, picked up some Magic Mind, picked up some pomegranate juice, picked up some water, and picked up some steak because I'm a wolf. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Home cooking, absolutely. That's what you call it. Home cooking. I mean, there is no other way to say it because the benefit of the doubt should be for each and every fighter, especially when you get into the championship rounds. Now, had this been early and Fabio caught him early, then there would be nothing to go upon to see what type of fighter that Justice Huni was. Justice Huni was caught by a few shots earlier. He was caught by a right uppercut and the overhand right that kind of had him, that tested his resistance level. Okay, that's exactly what happened. Huni wasn't supposed to win. Dude, these little gnats, bro, in the summertime, they just fly. That's one thing I hate about the South. You got random, especially in humidity, you have these random little gnats. They come out everywhere. Don't buy fruit. Don't buy fruit. They will come and invade your shit. And So, Huni wasn't supposed to win. So once Wardley had a slight advantage, speed up the count so he could. Bill Keevening, that's how it is. I mean, that's pretty much cut and dry right there. Justice Huni, people, you guys heard me preach about bridger fighters. Justice Huni was a bridger fighter. In fact, he was different than a bridger fighter. He was worse. He was a replacement. This was supposed to be Jarrell Miller. And it tells you, though, Jarrell Miller fighting in Ipswich, I can't wait to hear him out because I know he's going to have something clever or sharp to say about this whole situation with Fabio Wardley, because the same ref would have been applied. The same judges would have been applied. The same ring would have been applied. The same venue would have been applied. The same stuff would have been applied to Jarrell Miller. And you look at someone that was a replacement for someone that was injured. Jarrell Miller was injured. Thank God he didn't pop or anything like that, Huni went down at 127. He got up at 117. Anyone here can add that up. Okay. I have to remind you, St. Don, that's clever. 127 to 117, that's 10 seconds. Here's the deal. The count is the count. The count isn't a second count. The count is a human count. You see what I'm saying? That's what you fail to realize. If that was the case, Tyson Fury, your fighter, would be out. And people could use that because they've tried to use that just like you're trying to use that. You see what I'm saying? They used that against Wilder. When Wilder belted Tyson Fury, he was down a while. That's what they do. XK shots X or XK shots Z. What's good, Kurt? Counterpunch to you. St. Don, I'm confused. LOL. Yeah, I know, right? I don't get what you're saying. Onwards and upwards for Wardley. Huni is yesterday's man. Wow. Yay, that's what the narrative should be for certain fighters that want to see this go and get swept under the rug. You know what I mean? So watch the ref on the zone. He picked up count at 5. Okay, he picked up the count at 5. Okay. Yes, Kurt. Essex, Colchester in the house. Costas, Christophe, counterpunch to you in the building. But no, I think that, yeah, I think the opportunity was, I think it, honestly, you can call it a misdemeanor, but at the same time, if you're looking at overall fairness, no, it really wasn't fair. It really wasn't fair at all. I think, like somebody's getting killed back there. What the hell? Scariest heavyweight in history. Tyson Fury beat every single count every time he been knocked down. It's not Fury's fault. He always take his time according to how the ref counts. Tyson Fury was never knocked out. Tyson Fury said it, he was knocked out. So what are you going to tell me about what somebody said that already said it? That's the problem. If you told me, well, he was never knocked out, he always beat the count. Yeah, that's true. He always beat the count. That just shows you the ability that Tyson Fury has to recover. He has a good recovering ability. He might have a little drop or two of that Wolverine shit or that saber tooth shit, right? But he said it himself. Yeah, I was knocked out. Wilder knocked me out in the first fight. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about that in defense of somebody else, but I can't defend people's word. Well, he meant this. No, well, I know what he meant. You can be, you can be out of consciousness for a while, a second or 5 seconds or a minute. But, that's what he said. I'm just telling you what he said. I only see the DAZN highlights. It cut away from Huni trying to get up. That said a lot. Yeah. Well, that's another issue. I look at fights and you look at knockdowns. The strange thing is when he did get knocked down, Huni went down and everybody, they showed the highlights of everybody. Frank Warren, they showed even because Eddie was right beside Frank. And they showed people's reaction to the knockdown, but they didn't really show the knockdown per se. They didn't show what happened when he went down. Sure, he went down. They showed an angle for it for a while. They cut right to the promoters, and that is kind of strange because what happened in the ring is what's supposed to be the topic, the focus point is supposed to be what happens in the ring because that's what people come there to see. So, Mamalu, he was motionless for over 4 seconds on the floor. He got up, corrupt decision. I mean, my thing is this is my take on it. Hearing you guys talk back and forth about Huni and Wardley. Before I want to drop that. Let's discuss this. How about this? Why wasn't, and why isn't anyone, I mean anyone, talking about a rematch? Have you noticed, guys, why isn't anyone talking about a rematch? We're hearing about long counts, referees, home cooking. We're hearing about all this stuff. Babsy 627. I had to go shopping. I heard that, Babsy. Counterpunch to you. Welcome back. His gloves were still on the ground when the ref was at 9. Well, the thing is, he's not the only one that did that, though. I mean, there's countless referees that when a fighter hits, when he says 9, and then even when the fighter gets up at 10, that happened to Charles Martin. Charles Martin got up against AJ, but he just waved it off and nobody really said shit. So I think we need to really understand that is that out the ordinary? And you have to say no. You have to say no with that. It's not that far out the ordinary. It really isn't, because we've seen that countless time and time again. Now, to be fair, AJ dropped Charles Martin a couple times, right? So it wasn't just this one time where this one shot was made and, oh, thank God, let's call this fight off. Because that's what it does seem like. It does seem like the energy, it lacks the intention, the overall scare of this all is come to an end. And this is the opportunity for it to come to an end. You have a guy that had this been getting his ass whooped. Left hooks, straight rights, rights to the body, left hooks to the body, jabs up to the face, eyes swollen, out of breath, tired, don't really have much to really work on. You didn't even think that he was. I do think Justice Huni underestimated him based on the body language of Fabio Wardley, because Fabio Wardley seemed not to have shit going for him. He didn't look like he had anything left. He looked like he was one of those guys that was absolutely starched. That's what he looked like. He looked like a guy that looked like he was about to go himself. He looked like he could be stopped. If you look at that fight, look at the body language from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all of those particular rounds, those 5 rounds that I just called out, Fabio Wardley looked gassed. And he looked tireder and tireder and tireder in each and every fight progressing. So, yeah, Justice Huni probably was like, this dude ain't got nothing. I'm going to box him. I'm going to do my thing. He started giving him a little bit of more space. He started letting off of the overall pressure, and that's what happened, because when he was closer to Fabio, he was better, because Fabio had one punch. I don't know if Justice Huni did his homework. I wasn't in his camp, but I can tell you he let up. He let up, okay? He started pot-shotting more. He started with the jab, and that's what it was. Whyte, you want to match between Fabio and Whyte? I don't know about that. Damn it, dude. The hell. I think that, and they're small, I think that Whyte versus Fabio Wardley is a banana peel. Fabio Wardley at this point, though, he's like a cat and he has 8 lives. He lost his 9th life. Now, if you really want to be technical about it, he's really has 7 left. Because when that Frazier fight, that could have been one, but that was one hell of a fight, to be fair. He was getting outclassed, but he had to dig deep and show heart, right? He got his ass whooped until he landed that shot. They chose a point in time. That's the best cover-up in the fight. The opportunity, because understand, let's look at it this way. Let's do this. What if the ref wouldn't have called the fight off? What if the referee wasn't on the take? What if the referee actually gave him the benefit of the doubt? If that would have happened, what makes you think that Fabio Wardley would have got another opportunity like he got? Because Justice Huni was pretty clever. The things that he was doing in there, like Fabio admitted, he pulled out all the stops. He knew he had all the tricks going tonight. He had me fooled. I didn't really know what to do. He didn't. Fabio had no answer to any of that shit. All he did, he threw a punch when he threw a punch. Shit, I'm going to throw it. Roll the dice. It was a Ben Davison classic. You knew it was a Ben Davison classic. That sounds like some shit Ben would do. Roll the dice, mate. Roll the dice. That's what he did. He rolled the dice. And fortunately for him, Huni didn't have a chin like that. You mess around with Otto Whyte, someone like that's seasoned, that's been in there with AJ, that's been in there with Tyson, that's been in there with Chisora, that can take a punch. Because regardless of what you say about Otto Whyte may not can punch that well. He may not be known for punching power, but he has a tough will. And if you got a guy in there that's awkward like Otto Whyte and he's a southpaw, he could give him problems. Nobody needs to be fighting Otto Whyte at this point, especially someone like Fabio Wardley that's way up there. And he got up there just by pure grit, as you can tell. I'm happy for him, but I'm more sad or I feel a certain way about Huni, because Huni has to go back to Australia. Kid has to go back to Australia. And I don't think he really realizes the prejudice that he was under. That was home cooking. And if he can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. That's another reason I like Jaya Pataya. Jaya Pataya is aware of what's going on in the game. He's aware, and it's things that he could choose to do versus things that he doesn't. Like this morning, we seen him. Like, hey, would you like to call out Ramirez? Yeah, I want the Ramirez. I want the Zerto fight. I want the unification. I'm not here to badmouth him, though. I could, but I'm not here to do it. So since I'm not here to do it, I just want to fight. If he thinks he's the best, he ain't fought me because I think I'm the best. So he needs to fight me if he feels that way. So he needs to give me that opportunity. Again, it was straight class. But understand, he's aware of what's going on. He just decides not to do that. Now, his manager or whatnot said what he had to say, but that's his job. His job is to talk up the ins and outs, talk the politics of the game, what's going on outside the ring. Jaya Pataya's job is to handle his business inside the ring and state what he wants to do, because he does have a mind of his own. Okay, so it is what it is. So he was getting outclassed, but he had to dig deep. He got his ass whooped till he landed that punch. Can't teach heart. No, you can't. No, you can't. AJ shot. I will still mention AJ. He's a shot fighter. The minute he gets tapped, he falls like a cheap suit. We know that that ain't the same Joshua from years ago. I mean, I think everybody knows that by now. The final boss, Luca Mora, final gladiator, Luca Mora, at St. Don. Post-fight drug test. Don't test for laxative, son. Wardley would be chicken feed for AJ. I don't know. I mean, at this point, one thing AJ has also is power. Kurt, who do you got? Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte now. It's Moses Itauma. You have to favor the fighter that's young, that's fresh. But Dillian Whyte, keep in mind, Moses is not going to pull a Dempsey McKean with Dillian Whyte. He's not going to fight Dillian like that. I think he's smarter than that. He knows better, because you try that shit with veteran fighters, like, oh, I'm going to go in and just blast this fighter out. No, because you can find yourself off the canvas. You can find yourself in a situation that you've never walked upon, and I think that's important. So when you're talking about Dillian Whyte, if Dillian Whyte can still crack, if Dillian Whyte can counter, you better be careful, because if he knocks out Moses Itauma, that will be tragic for a lot of people. Frank Warren will cry a river. Why? Because Moses Itauma, his expectation level is very, very high. People expect him to do so much in the sport. People expect him to replace a lot of these fighters that were undefeated for a very long time. And at 20 years of age, you don't want no one to get their ass whooped that early, because it could cripple a fighter's productive growth. But guess what, moron? If you don't let them grow, how will they ever know? You got to let a fighter grow. You got to let a fighter learn certain things. You can't just push him in this fight and that fight and this fight and that fight. Now, Dillian Whyte, is it a very risky fight? Yeah, but it's a name. It's a name. But sometimes that expectation begets pressure on these fighters, and these fighters know that. They know what people expect of them. That causes pressure. Ayers is a much love counterpunch to you. Fabio is quite good at rematches, just ask Clark. Counterpunch to you. That is true. Fabio counted Huni's right hand. He threw the right hand when Fabio did. So yes, he did. He did a Jeet Kune Do on Justice Huni. Justice Huni was throwing a right hand. He threw it because he knew one place you can't. What was bothering Fabio? This is what was bothering Fabio. Huni had his guard up most of the time. You know what I mean? He was covering himself well. And the strange thing is, maybe instinctively, Fabio thought to himself, you know what? Maybe this dude, I haven't hit him flush. Maybe this dude, the way he's covering up, the way he's so defensively responsible, maybe that's a mechanism. Maybe that's a reason. Did I get him? Did they get him? But anyway, maybe that's the reason why he's so guarded, is because maybe he is fragile upstairs. Maybe he can't take a punch. So people that know and that's not aware of what they can take, they're going to not take chances. They're going to protect themselves. Justice Huni was protecting himself very well. So that being said, Fabio Wardley was like, you know what? Let me take a crack at this kid. Let me hit this kid. Let me see if I can, bring impact to his face. Let me see if I can drop him. Let me see what happens when I do land flush. Oh, I know. He can't block when he's throwing. Let me throw when he throws. And that's exactly what happened. Boom. Fabio. So, yeah, Fabio probably knew that, engagements of war. Lou Brown, what's good? Counterpunch to you, brother. Oh, I'm all fired up here. This fire underskirt today. Yeah. Moses has to go up a level now. I'd prefer British title and David Adelaide, but Whyte will do. Miller would have won last night. I'm waiting for his response. I've been checking his Instagram to see what he has to say, besides the other, random stuff that he puts on Instagram. I want to see what he has to say about the fight that he's supposed to fought last night. That I am eager to hear from. Miller would have won last night. I don't know. Kurt, always enjoy your lives. Much. Keep up the good work every day, every time. I'm trying to increase the channel. I'm trying to get 100,000 subscribers. I'm trying to build the channel, and I think lives is the way. So if I go live every day, like the boxing voice, would you guys like that? I'm just asking. Maybe if I go live every day, would you guys like that? Quan Big Guns in the building, a.k.a. the Fury Terminator. Counterpunch to you. Quan's Big Guns in the building, people. XK Shots. I'd like to see Wardley Parker, but Parker only fights old men. Okay. Mark McCullough was an old man. That's cool. Bill Keaveney, live every day. Nice. Nice. Charlene. Hey. Counterpunch to you, Charlene, in the building. The final ball's Luca Mora. Yeah, exactly 10 seconds. You can hear count in the background, and the ref sinks to 5, and Huni looked unsteady at 10. Okay. Which heavyweight matchups do you want to see in the future? Enlighten me. I think, I would rather see Moses Itauma versus somebody his own age. I would want to see Moses Itauma versus Jared Anderson. I would want to see Danny Dubois against Martin McCauley. I think that fight should happen. I want to see Efe Ajagba against Fabio Wardley. I want to see someone that can take some punches power as well, because, maybe Justice Huni, and we're going to find out in time about Justice Huni when he continues his career. If he gets dropped the very next fight, one thing we will know about Justice Huni, he's chinny. And that might have been the case. It might have been that he was so defensively responsible that he couldn't afford to take shots. That's why when he got that's why when he got hit, he couldn't get back up like he should have. Hopefully they put Moses in the right fights. Hopefully. Moses versus Anderson, good. Yeah. Someone in the 20s. You don't want to get Moses Itauma the reputation of fighting old fighters. They did that shit with AJ. You know what I mean? So when AJ knocked out Vladimir, which was a hell of a fight, which I think gave him hell on wheels, I think, a lot of people still found a way to hate on him. Oh, you fight only guys that are 40. And those people are the ones that are fans of the rivals of those fighters. That's it. Listen, Vladimir Klitschko was 39 years of age when Tyson Fury fought him. He was 41 when he fought AJ. Okay, a year and a half later, he fought Anthony Joshua. He dropped Anthony Joshua in the 6th. Joshua dropped him in the 5th. Then Joshua dropped him in the 11th. fight over. But hell of a fight of the year candidate. I think it was the best fight of that year because I remember what other fights that happened in 2017. I mean, the unification between Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. That was a pretty good fight. It was, I remember where I was at that fight. It was a very good fight. I want to see more of Moses. I want to see what he's really made of. Everybody does. I think what we're doing, though, we're rushing him. I think, Warren is a good matchmaker. He can be. I think he looks after his fighters. I'm looking at Frank Warren. I'm looking at Frank Warren a lot differently now than I did 7-8 years ago. A lot of people looked at Frank Warren as a scumbag. You know what I mean? Brick top, the things that he would do, the things that he would say. But understand, he wasn't on the winning side. He wasn't winning at that time. The fighters that he had really wasn't doing much. He was more like Showtime, and Eddie Hearn was more like HBO. But of course, HBO and Showtime, they always clashed, and they always had certain fighters that HBO didn't have that used to have. I.e. Mike Tyson, i.e. Floyd, Money Mayweather. You see what I mean? They had certain fighters that crossed the street. So he's still just he's just older. Kurt, what you think of Davidson's camp defensively? I think it's trash. I think Davidson really needs to realize that his techniques should be more geared on protecting his fighters versus the offensive side. I know the offensive side is important, but so is the other 50% You can't have a half-ass camp, or you can't train anyone half-ass. If you don't treat guys with the responsibility of holding their own defensively, what are you really doing? You're half-assing it. And in essence, you're cutting corners. Yeah, I miss this a lot, actually. I want to see Huni versus Hrgovic. I think Huni would beat Hrgovic. I don't know, because if Huni doesn't have a chin, what's the point? We could be looking at this. Let's switch this live just a second, people. We may be looking at this shit totally the opposite way that we should. So let's look at it in another perspective. What if Huni just doesn't have a chin? I mean, after all, Huni did go down, didn't he? After all, it wasn't an illegal punch that Fabio Wardley hit him with. I mean, let's look at this fight like it is. Fabio Wardley hit him with a shot. I know it's a big letdown for someone that thought an upset was coming and smelling around the corner, but it didn't happen because Fabio Wardley landed a shot. It was a legal shot. It was a hard shot. It was a clean shot. And he dropped Huni with that shot. So this is what we need to ask ourselves, people. We need to say, hey, one good punch is all you need in boxing. That's true. It's true because sometimes it's all you need to do. But is Huni? Didn't Huni go down? Right? Didn't Huni go down? Yeah, he went down. Right on his back. Took his time to get up. Came to his knees. Used his hands to get up and his knees. He was on all fours from his back. Who wins? Fabio Wardley, Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois, to me, Daniel Dubois reminds me of a solid tank. A young, strong, improved, mentally solid tank. Physically solid tank. Punching power, combination power, hard punching, you know what I mean? Pressure. He knows how to get you in there. He knows how to punch. He knows how to take a shot. He's solid. I think him fighting, I don't look at Fabio the same way. I look at Fabio with holes in his defense. I think Daniel Dubois would break him down, and I don't think Fabio Wardley, if Fabio Wardley could drop Daniel Dubois, that right hand is the equivalent of Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. I'm not going to give him that luxury just yet. I'm not going to do that just yet because Huni may not have a chin, people. Again, back to Huni. We don't know how good Huni's chin is. He's a new kid on the block. He's one of the new bloods, honestly. They brought a new blood fighter in there to take on a guy that's been around just a minute more. Okay. Let's see. Huni may be scared to throw now in the future. He may be. We have to see what Huni's made of. We have to see if he's eager. We have to see what this does to his career. Because we seen Jared Anderson, he didn't look too good. He looked apprehensive. Look at Devin Haney, looked apprehensive. He looked like a guy that didn't want to fight. He looked like a guy that didn't want to engage. He looked like a guy that didn't want to get hit. So if he's one of that's going to take time. Don't worry, people. Don't fret. I'm going to tell you why don't fret. Because Lennox Lewis, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, was once like that. Facts. Lennox Lewis, when he got dropped by McCall, when Oliver McCall knocked out Lennox Lewis, right? And there's another fight they called off, and Lennox was like, "What's going on? I'm up." You're up and you're staggering around like a drunken hobo that's coming from a pub. That's what. But it took him 5 or 6 fights to get himself back. And it took him a rebuilding process. They didn't just push Lennox Lewis back in there. Lennox Lewis had to grow. So don't think that a fighter, just because he took an L and he's going through it, don't mean that he can't fully shake back. A lot of people do that shit, and I don't know why we do it. We did it with AJ. Oh, AJ got beat. He ain't the same fighter. Well, look, it takes time to build a fighter, really, if you really want to build him. But if you keep pressuring him to expect him to do more and more and more and more, oh, title after title after title after unification after unification. Oh, well, we expect him to fight the best, the cream de la creme, the biggest man on the hill and all this shit. If we expect him to do these type of things, okay, if we expect him to do these things, how can he ever figure it back out? He'll never figure it out. He'll just be in a situation where he's rushed and he'll really never learn anything. You know how I knew AJ didn't learn anything? When they threw his ass in there with the WBO lineal cruiserweight champion of the world, former Alexander Usyk, when he asked Don Charles, "How do I beat this guy?" That meant he didn't learn shit. That's what it meant. That's what it meant. He didn't know what to do. And I don't even think it was that, Bill, because if that was the case, he had Rob McCracken in his corner at that time. And he was like, "Man, what do I do? How do I beat this guy?" That means you didn't learn anything. That meant nobody took time for you, with you, okay, exclusively for you at all. They didn't take time to make you understand, like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what we need to work on. Let's get some sparring in here. Let's get somebody to emulate that style. Let's see what you're lacking. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that. Moses destroyed Huni and Fabio one night. Okay. I think I know what you're saying. He'll destroy them both in the same night. Is that what you're trying to say, Alex? Quan Big Guns. Derek James is the best trainer AJ had. He is, but he didn't have him long enough. And AJ conveniently went back to the UK and got with a British, that favoritism shit. And it shows you, though. You look back at what Lennox Lewis had to say. Lennox Lewis, I think, said it to or about AJ based on like, oh, I think he should do this because, Lennox Lewis always wanted AJ he wanted to live vicariously through AJ. So the things that he wanted AJ to do, that's what he would have done. That's what he would have did if he had AJ under his wing. So keep that in mind. But if you want to get better, guys like Vladimir Klitschko, guys like Tyson Fury, they made better decisions than AJ. They made better decisions than AJ. Why do I say that? It's because when AJ decided, well, let me go abroad to get a trainer, you have to understand, you have to commit to the trainer if you want to learn what the trainer has to offer. So it's almost like, okay, after the Hellenius fight, which was a replacement, it was almost like I no longer want to learn anything new. I just want to be cheerleaded. I just want to be pep talked. I just want my ego fed. I just want these things from a particular trainer. I don't want to be defensively responsible. I don't want to train hard like Americans, because he said that shit, not me. He did. They train hard in America, right? He didn't want that. He wanted convenience. Even Robert Garcia said that shit. Robert Garcia and Anthony Joshua. Robert Garcia wanted to leave several times. Do you guys know that? When he decided to be the trainer or whatever, head or, I don't know, side trainer or whatever, when he decided to become the trainer, it was things that he did not like that AJ was doing or was allowed to do. Okay? So him going to Derek James, I don't think he could do those things because Derek James ain't having that shit. No, you coming here. And that's why Derek wasn't really tripping, because Derek wasn't going there. Because at that time, Derek had a lot of other fighters to fight. He had Errol Spence, he had Frank Martin, he had Ryan Garcia. He had a lot of fighters. AJ is lazy face. And he's not the greatest boxer either. No way. I watched fighters from years ago. Even though I was young, I see a totally different take, AJ and Eddie, and call it a day, honestly. Well, I don't think AJ's lazy. I think AJ got convenient. So in a sense he is. Yeah, I think he can go to the gym and work out all day. I just think he wasn't willing to come back to the States. I don't think he was willing to do what it took to get better, honestly. You know what I mean? Or maybe he stopped believing in the idea that Derek James was going to make him better. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to believe that a trainer is doing the best for you in order to follow that trainer, right? So that might have been the case. And I think he's lazy. I totally do think he's lazy. He thinks by weightlifting all the time. Okay, plus if he's doing modeling, that's going to take away from his training. Weightlifting is not the answer, but I see where you're coming from. You know, you remember the explosion he had after the second loss to Usyk? I trained hard. Maybe he was talking about like the training he's doing in the gym, that fitness shit. Don Charles is a desperate cheat. Davidson's camp is not great defensively. No, they're not. Derek James Hernandez, that one he's going to change his like I change my panties, and that's every day. Kurt, who wins, Anthony Joshua versus Moses Itauma now? You know what's strange about that? We haven't seen Moses caught. I want to see what happens when Moses gets hit. You know, it will be Moses' downfall early. Who do you think will win, OKC or Indiana? I don't know. Don Charles is calling Usyk a liar, but denies that Triple D quit. Yeah, if you got one, you got the other, but I think this is what he does. Since he cheated in the 5th round, it was supposed to be over in the 5th round. So what happened in the 9th round don't matter. That's what Don Charles is doing. He's like, well, it didn't matter because he cheated him in the 5th. He manipulated the ref in the 5th, so he cheated. So, I mean, that's how he's going to flip that. AJ overtrains in the gym. We ain't seen Moses hit or drugged into 10 rounds yet. We haven't. St. Don, great counterpunch. And it is. The J. Roos theory, counterpunch to you, Don Charles is EMO. What's EMO? What's that? Kurt Hatman strikes back, thinks Moses Itauma would beat Anthony Joshua. I mean, based on the performance that we've seen him in, based on, his speed and his power and stuff like that, But we haven't seen Moses Itauma caught. We haven't seen him take a punch. Do you think we will get at least 2 more fights from Usyk? We will get a fight next month, and we will get another one. And that's that. You will not see Alexander Usyk again after that. Oh, emotional. Okay. I never would have put that out. Oh, yeah, it's emotional. Don Charles is real emotional. I look at Daniel like my son. I train him like my son. I would like to see him and Stan in a fight. I got my money on Don. Once Moses takes a shot, we will learn about him. That's true. You think Moses should change trainers before it's too late? Well, I don't know. I mean, he keeps fighting. Logic tells you he's going to get hit. Logic tells you that somebody, you know, we will learn all we need to know about Moses Itauma. The dude that just had his 12th fight. I don't see what the thing is. I think that pressure is unnecessary. I think Moses Itauma is a very good fighter, and I think he's on his way. I know he feels he wants it, but I just hope he doesn't get to a point mentally that they're pushing him too much that he is uncomfortable with, if that makes sense to anybody. Moses should go to Don Charles. Welcome to the ring, O motion from Usyk. I can't see Usyk continuing his career if Dubois beats him. Yeah. He is old. He's older, rather. You know, so we'll see what he can still do. Don the Con. I am Don the Con. Team Itauma raised the bar on themselves with the talk of beating Tyson's record. He did, and they did. So I think that's what they wanted to do. They didn't do it, though. It didn't happen. Mike Tyson is still Kid Dynamite. He will always be Kid Dynamite. So, you know, and even if someone beats that, you know, he will always be the first. If Usyk loses, he retires or fights Jai. Fights Jai Abataya. That would be super shitty. Because what if he fights Jai and beats Jai? You're messing with Jai's progression. You know? The whole Davidson camp lacks defense. Moses is in trouble in the future. He may be. Usyk doesn't lose to Triple D or Triple Knee. I don't know, man. It's crazy. But yeah, Justice Huni, I think he, you know, back to him, he may not have a chin. We will learn in his next fight or when he gets in there with someone that can punch, to be fair. Because he may win the next 2 or 3 because they may be fights on the level that he was accustomed to. But as soon as he gets in there with somebody that can punch, if the same thing happens, you expect the same thing, you know. So you don't be surprised. And please don't be mad at Fabio Wardley. See, Fabio Wardley, they knew they have a new lease on life. They knew they still got an undefeated record. They got out. They came out. They landed that shot. They're fired up, and they know, like, hey, listen, this is what has to happen now. I want to fight all the dangerous fighters because it's better to get beat by one of them than to get beat by Justice Huni. That would have been catastrophic for Fabio Wardley. You don't understand. That guy went through hell and high water fighting Frazier. Then he knocked Frazier out, so he redeemed himself. Then he took on Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller pulled out. Then he fights Justice Huni, which was a replacement, and he almost gets beat. Oh, my God. Imagine that. Huni's chin is massive, just long. He do got a big ass chin, though. I looked at that shit. I'm like, bro, they got a big target. Usyk normal shape outboxes Triple D everything. Yep, onward and upward for Wardley. Wardley loves throwing the rolling. He loves throwing the dice. He does. He does love throwing the dice, people. He loves throwing the dice, isn't it? That's what he loves to do. Huni gets his chance if he starts beating ranked fighters. Well, I mean, he fought Kevin Ladena. I think that's the best name on his resume. Kevin Ladena gave Daniel Dubois a hell of a scare. So, you know, to be great today is far harder than in the past. In the post-journeyman held belts today, divisions are stacked. Yeah. You know, I mean, you got all these. You got Derek Chisora, the number 1 on the IBF. You know what I'm saying? Like, fighting who? Joe Joyce, he got knocked out a long time ago. He's fell off a long time ago. Otto Weiland, who was he really? You know what I mean? Derek Chisora is not there from his own, you know, ass-whooping ability. He's there because of other stipulations that happen in the sanctioning body rankings. Kurt, Fabio Wardley versus Jared Anderson would be a good matchup. I would love to see that fight. 2 guys that are mobile, you know. It would be a good fight. Very good fight. Let's make it happen. Ladena would have beaten Dubois anywhere outside of BBB of C jurisdiction, WBA 3 knockdown rule. Yeah, but it didn't. He didn't. Thank God he didn't. Dubois wouldn't have beat AJ. He wouldn't have beat Jarrell Miller. He wouldn't have been anywhere. He wouldn't have even fought the Usyk fight because he would have got beat before he fought Usyk. There would be no controversy or anything because Danny Dubois would be finished. They would have put Danny Dubois back in the cupboard. He'd have been done. He would have been done. So, that being said, people, it is what it is. You know? So, but yeah. So, let's see. Who else do we got? Wardley, I sent as bad as windmills. Kurt, Fabio Wardley versus Jaya Bataya would be interesting. Yeah, when Jaya Bataya acclimates to the weight class, you know. Yeah, man, he got caught with that right hook. It was over with. Leave him be. Leave him be. DDD loses, where would that leave him? A man without a belt, a two-time fighter, a WBA regular, and a IBF former heavyweight champion of the world. You could still claim he's a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He's a millionaire. He just got a newborn baby, and I think he should spend time with his baby and his baby mama. That's pretty much it. I mean, Danny Dubois. I think it all depends on how he loses. If he loses the same way, he's finished. Because people will then come right back with the same narrative that he hasn't changed, he hasn't grown, he hasn't anything. He just got in there with the right one. The right type of fighter will pressure him, confuse him, annoy him, and make him quit. And that's it. That's that. Who is Mr. Undisputed? New Era, Daniel, Moses, Caballero, Parker, Jololev, Huni, Wardley, Mr. Anderson, Bakali. Who is the new king? Alex, that is a great question. I think it depends on who fights. So we got all these names. Look at all these names. Daniel's fighting Usyk. So more than likely, if Daniel don't win, Daniel won't be in the picture for a while. You know, Moses and Caballero. Caballero and Parker, Jololev. None of these guys are fighting. Dubois is only 27, and he's already put the division on notice. He wants all the belts. I heard that. King Caballero. Caballero's tough, man. I like watching Caballero's fights, bro. I like to watch him work. You know what I mean? It's a thing of beauty. Usyk's relentless spirit won't let him quit or be knocked out. Dubois can't beat him. Damn. He can't win. You know how fast he is? Damn. Adrian made Rock out divorce Adrian after she said some shit like that to me. You can't win. I'm divorcing you. Good. Hopefully the new generation top guys will fight each other. Hopefully. You know, I mean, what will really happen? They have a pool of older guys that refuse to quit that they can use to feed to the younger guys. That's all you're going to see, people. In closing, You're going to have these new guys. You're going to have guys, like Moses, Caballo, Parker's going to get older. They're only one fight away from where they need to be to see where they're going to be, if that makes sense to anybody. So, Joel, we don't know how Joel is going to be marketed. He may be another fucking Michael Hunter. He may be a situation where he may never get an opportunity. You see what I'm saying? And if he makes the wrong decision, he may never get an opportunity. And it doesn't have to be that you get beat. It could be you made the wrong decision. These are just facts, people. If you make the wrong decision in boxing these days, you can ask yourself out. You can be asked out of fight. You can be in a situation where, you were once upon a time, up for this, and then you made a decision to do that, and then you lost this opportunity. I'm Martin McCauley. Kurt, do you bet on any fights? I don't believe I ever heard you say that you bet on. No, that's the wrong channel. You're talking about showbiz, don't. All right, man, look. I put $10,000 on. Hell no. How about I put $10,000 on a new property? How about that? I ain't doing that shit. I quit gambling. But it's funny. I lost a lot of money at one point, and that's the person I called. And he was like, brother. That show. Brother. Let me tell you. So gave me good advice. Shout out to Showbiz the adult. But no, I don't gamble. Hard to like Jololoff ruining opportunities for young amateurs. Yeah, that was tact. I didn't like that. I didn't like him going back to the amateurs at all. I thought that was stupid. I thought that was dumb. Mama Lou, no, that's a fact. Who did Wardley beat to be better than Wilder? LOL. Wardley barely survived a novice fighter yesterday. Wilder is a history record-breaking boxer. Wow. Who has Wilder beaten that's any good? Luis Ortiz, but he was just old. Arthur Spilka, which Derek Chisora also knocked out, but he did it first. Dominic Brazil, which Dominic Brazil had one loss because, the first person that beat him was AJ, then Deontay second, then Otto Whiteley third. Who else did Wilder fight? Wilder fought Robert Helenius that knocked out Adam Kalnacki twice. That Adam Kalnacki at the time was an undefeated fighter that people actually took seriously. Adam Kalnacki never got the opportunity to fight Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder, he had already got knocked out by Helenius. Luis Ortiz was better than anyone. Wardley was beaten, thus fat, to be honest. I also thought Clark beat Wardley, but the rematch, round 1 KO, kind of buried that. Oh, absolutely it did. But no, I think, Wilder was protected. Wilder didn't have the fights. Wilder didn't get the fights that he wanted, I don't think. But he couldn't see that his team were just kind of smothering his own progress. But I think they helped him because they knew maybe he couldn't handle those big guys up there. Kurt Wardley is good. I feel he will be Dillian, Whyte, and level at best career. Okay, well, he's fighting a 36-year-old and he's 20. So he's fighting someone that's old enough to be his daddy. And, he's a name, but what has Dillian Whyte done in 2 years? Nothing. He fought Christian Hammer. He quit. He fought Ebenezer. He quit. Those guys, what did they do? Who were they really? They weren't. That answers your question. They were not. So if he beats Dillian Whyte ain't did nothing in a while, so you can't rejoice, too damn high, can you? So it is what it is. Wardley will never be a champ, but will be in some exciting fights. Damn. We'll see. Kurt, who wins Joseph Parker versus Michael Hunter? That's a good fight. And what makes Joseph Parker more dangerous, that's if he can keep up with the weight that he's gained. he has gained weight, so that may help him with punch delivery. So, but then again, here's the question about Michael Hunter. What type of shape is Michael Hunter in? You know what I'm saying? He's 35. What kind of shape is he in? He's inactive, but what kind of shape is he in? So, Whyte fell out of boxing. His last 3 fights have been warm-ups with the intention of continuing, but controversy stopped him every time. Yeah, he can't seem to take a break or get something, get the momentum going. Joseph Parker beat Hunter, in my opinion. He's been active on lower promotions. Old self-proclaiming King Fury wants to come back in the ring and still a little undisputed era. You better go home and say where he said he was going to stay. Bars. Wilder was lucky to be champion in the first place. Stavern getting to fight Areola B2B back-to-back for the belt is shocking. Yeah. And that's his claim to fame. And Wilder beat him. So that's his claim to fame. He beat somebody that once upon a time could have been somebody, but wasn't. Chris Areola was a guy that was a silver Olympian, or was he a bronze Olympian? One of them. And he got beat by Vitali, and he cried, and it was sad because he thought he wanted to be the first Mexican heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? It didn't happen that way. Then he fought Bermane Stavern and got knocked out twice. Then Stavern fought Wilder when the title was vacant. So then that was Stavern. Then Wilder fought him and beat him. Then he knocked him out really bad the second time, which made Deontay Wilder more dangerous because it showed you, like, this dude is mean. He's like Shonuff with a right hand. Who's the master? I'm better than everybody. I got a punch. I'll knock you out. You know? Imagine Deontay Wilder, Shonuff, and AJ, Bruce Leroy. When I say who's the master, AJ, you say Deontay. Who's the master? What's new? Acoustic gymnastics counterpunch to you. I want a body on my record. Yep. I want to designate his ass for dismemberment. AJ, I want you, AJ. I think you scared. Sound just like Last Dragon, didn't it? Deontay is the perfect Shonuff. Bro, imagine Deontay. Who's the master? And AJ all, I'm looking for that glow in it. Who could be Vanity? Who could be Vanity in that? Who could play Vanity at that point? God bless the dead. Man, she was beautiful. I was in love with Vanity. Oh. Dude, I'm going to tell you what happened. When Vanity died, when I found out she died, bro, I went to Chili's. And I got drunk with a girl that I was dating. I was like, oh, I'm so sad. She was like, motherfucker, I don't care about you and your little crush. Oh, go away. Shane Wilder versus AJ didn't happen when they were champions. Idiots. Yeah, it sucks. The zone messed up zoning out the movement the count had started, which made people suspect there was shady goings on. Rosie O'Donnell could play Vanity. Rosie O'Donnell? Why Rosie O'Donnell? Who the hell is Rosie O'Donnell? Vanity was beautiful. What a shame. Yeah. Yeah. Too much coke. Too much partying, man. Rosie O'Donnell. The Zone got another angle on their channel showing it all. Okay, cool. Nelson, his love with KO Moses Itauma, he called him out too. No, but who could play Vanity? Probably someone like Laura London. You know what I mean? Laura London would probably play Vanity, right? Somebody pretty, Not too old, not too young, you know. Rosie just ruined the fantasy. I know, right? That's crazy. Kurt, you ever get invited? No, sir. The alternative angle the zone posted on X is conclusive proof the count was fast. Yeah, I got to take a look at that. I'll take a look at that. And I just posted a video actually on that. I think it will be probably my last video of the day. You know, can't give too much. But, guys, we've done 2 for 2. Tomorrow I will be back as well to do some counter punching, probably at 12 or 1 o'clock. I think this is a good time for everybody to come aboard. You know, I will check the times, but we have to keep counter punching, keep the live streams going. You guys wanted it. You're going to get it. So it's going to get got. But other than that, I am out. I have to do some stuff. But you guys, I do appreciate you guys coming in. Halle Berry could play Vanity. You are right. But maybe she's too old. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I know she's fine. I know she's fine, but maybe she's too old. You know what I mean? Because you have 2 guys that are still in their 30s, even though Wilder's damn near 40. But he's still, because he was born in 85. So he'll be 40 in October. He's still 39. So you need someone kind of in between there. You need someone that's going to, you know, no, I think Laura London would make more sense. Laura London is about 37, 38, right? Laura London age. No, dickhead. Laura London age. 40. Well, she's 40. So, you know, I still think that could work. Maybe. You know, they'll probably cast somebody else. But imagine AJ is show enough and Deontay is, no. AJ is Bruce Leroy. Deontay is show enough. You know, Laura London is Vanity. You guys tell me what you think. The 80s being 40 age makes me sad. No, it don't. We're just getting old. Don't worry. In 20 years, we're really going to be looking stupid. Hey, guys. Thanks, fans. But anyway, guys, love you guys. Have a blessed Sunday. I will see you tomorrow to another live stream. We're going hard, if you know what I mean. Pause. Bars. But you guys tell me what you think about this live stream. Leave a comment below. Please like and share. And everyone on the chat has been counterpunched. Absolutely, St. Don. I will be doing this at 60 as I go. Peace.